Can terrorists go to rehab and come out the other side as good little law-abiding citizens? It's a question posed by our next guest, Andrew Urban, author of titles such as Murder by the Prosecution and Climate Alarm Reality Check, What You Haven't Been Told. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
You have a background in crime and punishment. In your piece in Flat White this week, you ask, is a terrorist a criminal? Many people in both the political sphere and in the press are quick to treat the act of religiously driven terror the same as ordinary crime. And you argue that terror is fundamentally different. In what way is terror different to crime?
I think it's a fundamental difference that a terrorist is driven by ideology. A criminal is driven by greed. And one is kind of, if you like, temporal, and the other one is religious. And they're not only different in terms of motivation, but they're different in terms of actions. And I think it's easy to see if you consider the possibility that a criminal can give up their life of crime more easily than a terrorist can give up their life of terrorism. This point has been seen, we witnessed this in reality. And my concern is that the West hasn't really got a system of dealing with terrorists who are captured. Instead of treating them like prisoners of war, which I think is much more appropriate, we treat them like bank robbers or thieves. And I just don't think it's, I don't think we found it's a challenge, I admit. It's challenging how to do it, because if you capture a terrorist and you give him a 20-year sentence, what then? He's still a terrorist at the end of it. There's been the attempt, this attempt to rehabilitate is another aspect of it, but it's not the whole story.
Well, you can
punishment is the story.
You can rehabilitate a criminal who, went out and stole some goods or something, or one of those white-collar petty criminals. But with a terrorist, that's more akin to having a religion, albeit quite a dangerous one. And how would you deconvert somebody with a religious faith? Is that not closer to what we're actually trying to deal with? You're trying to deconvert people from a dangerous ideology?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the problem we have is that there is there's an attitude that terrorism is a crime. Now, I don't believe it's a crime. I believe it belongs in a different category. I believe it's like, as I said before, I think if you think of a terrorist as a soldier, although not in a uniform and not abiding by the rules of war, is far closer than to a criminal. And the problem that I see is that we haven't really used our imagination to work out, even if we try very hard, we haven't worked out how to deal with terrorists once they've been captured. Look at Guantanamo Bay. Now, this movie I was talking about shows how impossible it is to rely on decriminalization of jihadists.